last one was about almost a year plus. But then we were happy. Now the thing flew away like any other virus. You know, we almost have viruses every year through prayers. But we don't have technology. But when you are talking of spiritual technology, Nigeria has that one. If not, Nigerians wouldn't be alive again. It's by the grace of God. The problem is the absence of serious economists in the regime. There's no old economist. You know, when Obasanjo was around, he employed old economists. And they really managed the economy very well. Then, if that one is missing, then we're in trouble. Then the central bank that is supposed to be in charge of monetary policy is in charge of the whole economy. Emefiele is in charge of both physical and monetary. You know, there must be a disaster. That is where we have gotten it wrong. Monetary policy, that is banker of the banks. But his son has even passed bankers of the bank. He is now in charge of customs valuation. He is now in charge of giving forest to all selected manufacturers, including airlines. So automatically when you put one person in charge of everything, the Minister of Finance is supposed to be in charge of fiscal policy with the executive, that is the VP and co, and the economist. When you have economic advisor to Mr. President, that person should be respected. Who is the economic advisor to Mr. President? Tell me. And that is why Emefiele look at the whole thing. He became the all in all of the whole economy. He's the one who will grant waiver. And waiver is supposed to come, constitutionally is supposed to come from Mr. President and his economic council. He will not give, he will grant you waiver, or even tomato, where he's granting waiver to his own cronies. So, economy that is controlled by few will always crash. So, automatically, that is what you are seeing now. Then, the border has been closed. The ECOWAS protocols have been violated in the last 1 year. So, all the ECOWAS countries that really signed into this protocol, they are not happy with the big market. Because we have population, we have forgotten that the tiny ones can trouble the bigger one. If Nigeria does not allow the tiny one to survive, we are not going to survive. And that is why you are now seeing problems upon problems. We have said it times without number. More than 2 million Nigerian youth, both old and men, cross the border in and out every day, all over the borders. Today, some people woke up, close the border, use our money to buy Jeep about almost 50 something, buy gun, and close our borders against the protocol, the agreement, free movement of goods and services. When you say goods, you know what is goods. Services are men. We need your services in Togo. We need your services in Ghana. They come. Ghanaians, they come here. And you see the retaliation in Ghana. That's why the Igbos are suffering there. The Nigerians are suffering. The Yorubas are suffering in Burkina Faso because of these food sellers and so on. Because what they produced there, they were able to bring it into this place. What we produce here we were unable to take it to Ghana, particularly plastic, omo, soap, and so on. It's just of reason when they were having crisis of cement, the federal government, Mr. President, in his own mercy, granted BUA investment to take cement to that side. Later, he granted Dangote. But Ali, the almighty Ali of custom, blockaded Dangote until Dangote went back to Mr. President. So there are many powerful forces against the economy. That is why the economy is crashing. It's dying. When you wake it up, it will collapse again. That's what they call recession. Few people are working against the survival of the economy. Then, what of bureaucracy? How can the economy will not go to recession? All the borders that were generating revenue on both Tokumbos and rice, they couldn't generate again. Things are now being smuggled freely. But there will be a time you'll be tired of carrying guns up and down. All over the world, it is only custom, it is only Nigeria you see custom. Everybody, they are carrying guns up and down like madmen. The soldiers are there on the town. My own group with soldiers is that soldiers are not supposed to be seen commonly inside town. Because they are supposed to be our elitists reserve. But even if you want to do naming ceremony now, you can bring soldiers. Talk less of election. You saw what soldier did to my people in Elisha of recent, when they were flogging them during curfew. You see what soldier did in Lekki? A country that is lawless. The economy must sleep. This one does not sleep. It fainted. And if care is not taken and is fainting upon fainting, it will collapse finally. It's because God has blessed Nigeria, that is why we are recovering. Because of the common men. But if you don't allow our goods to go out, automatically the foreign exchange will not come in. If you don't allow goods to come in from their foreign goods, automatically the duties will not come in. But the tokumbos and the rice and whatever you say is not coming, they are coming through the same group of people that use the taxpayers' money to buy guns, to buy vehicles to prevent it. Yet they are still there. Then you don't want the economies to collapse? It has to. If you don't allow free goods and services, the youth will think of another bad thing to do. And that is why you are seeing the NSAS and this and that. NSAS is not NSAS alone, no. And custom harassment is worse than NSAS police. Because if you go and bring your goods, you know, most of this you don't know. Most of this prohibition here and there, you people don't know. It was not advertised because it's supposed to be the public document. If you say these things should not come in, you advertise every day, Nigerians will be educated. They won't waste their money. But when you wait until they bring it in and you seize them, automatically, later you sell it again. On their way from Lagos to Kano, another custom on the road, they intercept again. You have just bought this. They say, no, it's prohibition. Custom of nowadays does not know more than it is prohibition. Low value. What is prohibition? He will tell you. This is prohibition. This is that. Nigerians even most of the rice manufacturers, they even went to the extent of using foreign bags. They manufacture made in US, made in Thailand, their bag, they put it US because they know that Nigeria has foreign psychology problem. There's no way Nigerian custom or any other person can determine this is Nigerian rice. And by the time you see it, Nigerian rice are even better than all this po-boiled. But because the madness of foreign mentality has crept into Nigerian head, that's why they are dying for foreign rice. Even if they know they are not dying, Nigeria is supposed to consume 7.3 million tons of rice a year. Today, with all the billions or trillions of naira being pumped into Nigerian economy, particularly agric during Adesina's time, we have not met up to 4 million. This year is going to be worse because of the flood problem that has swept a lot of Sokoto, Kebbi, where you have all this thing, and Kano. What Nigeria should do is to allow rice to come in, put your everything in place, collect your duty to augment the balance. Formerly, my people would feel that they don't want to eat garri. Now, garri is even more costly than rice now. There was a time I went to my farm, I was doing garri for them. Say, it's you will eat your garri alone. Today, they are begging for garri. Food items are now out of the reach of the one because of war all over, war in Zamfara, part of Kebbi, war in Meduguri. I was in Meduguri for a week plus. That place has been closed down. Unless we are deceiving ourselves until this governor now that is there, that is sincere, is doing. That's why it's being pursued up and down. Because the war lost there, they don't want the war to end. Now, if the southern area could not produce what they will eat, and the northern area that is producing for us is being ravaged by internal problem, automatically there will be famine. If you get to Meduguri, the IDB camps we have in Nigeria, there are so many. Meduguri alone, you have almost 1.8 million people who are in IDB. Almost 5% of them are pregnant by the same Boko Haram people. Now, if almost 1/4 of our money now is being expended on war, you don't want the economy to collapse. There's no production. The unfortunate issue is that, in as much as people like us, we may be saying Buhari is this, Buhari is that. Me, I belong to PDP. But going through all the budgets for the past 3 years, I found out that since 2017, this Buhari of a man had been putting money on manpower development and agric and the economy. Youth development, trillions of naira. And upon all, he did not put old people in charge of it. It is the same young people that are in charge. Where we have, while we are having darkness, there's rural electrification section. Rural electrification is headed by a graduate of 2016. Elect boy. He's less than 36. He's not a young man. Nada. That's clearing of our Greek farm is 1 year. It's just around 40. Minister of Youth and Sport, the minister is a young man. The palm sec is just around 45. Smeda, the boy there is just around 42. There are, in fact, 3/4 of agencies that are running the economy of this country. They are all young people. The problem is that even the essay to Mr. Chairman of that's the Vice President, one small boy Tola, is in charge of SDG. All these funds here and there, which funds of this fund, that, what do they call it? There are very many, which this man has floated for the youth and women to develop. Yet, this thing did not get there. He got to a stage I was telling all these the MDs and so on, say, what are you people really doing for the young people? You are the people that are really killing the economy. This man has done his best. It is you who should go and do it and make it to get to the root of the to the youth, so that they will not disturb us again. So I don't know what they really want him to do that he has not done. What are the ministers that they are the managers of the economy? What are they doing? Most of them, either half of them are looking for governorship, or they want to go to. Most of them are running after presidency because this president said he didn't want to go again. So almost all the resources are now being wasted on frivolities. That is why you are seeing recession coming. And if opposition criticizes them, the opposition is not loyal to the Nigerian nation. Any democracy that does not allow opposition to criticize constructive one will never stand. You will always see this recession you are talking about. Then my advice now is for the youth to look for all these agencies, MDs, DGs, and ES. I will tell the Senate to name them and give them their telephone the way they gave the youth our own telephone numbers, and they are troubling us, particularly House of Rep and House of and Senate. We are not to even do any project at all. Our own is to make law and approve the budget, and we are be approving. It is when the executive will not do their work. We are now running after constituency project. We want to go away in my place. We want this. If the executive is doing his work as per the allocation, as per the proposal brought by Mr. President, as per the allocation and approval by the National Assembly, if the minister is doing so, Minister of Health is doing so, Minister of Works is doing so, Minister of Agriculture is doing so, then the governors, they will sit in their state and collect their allocation and do their work. Then the same governor will allow the local government to perform. The absence of local government in Nigeria is another problem. There's no way the economy will not go into recession because they have their own allocation. Most of the allocations of the local government, they go into the governor's account. Then you don't want the economy to go into recession. It will go, unless there is law, and the law is obeyed that the local governments should be autonomous. And they should spend their money according to what they should do the culvert, do the well, do the street light, do the market. Then the National Assembly will not be running after all these things again. They will do their law and sleep. We are now telling the youth, they should face the executive that is executing this project. National Assembly does not execute project. It is when the system fails, we are now struggling that we have to take something to our place. You youth should go and face the executive, face the governors, face the chairman of local government, face the ministers, face all the MDAs, so that let them account for the money we are allocating to them, not National Assembly. National Assembly has nothing to offer other than to maintain the law, just make law, approve the budget, which we are doing. The other time they were shouting, they are taking jumbo pay. I laughed. Before I got to this place, I've been spending money to my people. Even by the time we get the allowance, it's already gone. Ask them. You will see today. Because the executives are no more around in their various states. Burial tomorrow, this and that, which should have been taken over by them. They are nowhere to be found. So let Mr. President call the meetings of all his ministers, let everybody go to his state and see to the development of that state. Let the governor sit down. There's another problem. You are talking of recession. The ministers and the governors, they don't agree. You see them here, they will be going inside and coming. It's because of Mr. President. That's the only person they fear. When they get to their state, it is do or die matter. Go and investigate. You are all journalists. They don't agree. There's always rival, even if they come from the same party. So, apart from Mr. President, that is the only leader, Nigeria is becoming a leaderless society. If he goes tomorrow, you will see what will happen. So the youth have the opportunity now to shout to Mr. President, to assist them in talking to the ministers, the executive, those people who are executing. You see the other time when the minister was fighting with the Director General on how to execute fund and so on. The other time we were talking of power. Last year we had a Minister of Power. The budget for the ministry was about 8 billion. This year it was running to almost 200 billion. And I asked him, I said, are you a project ministry? What happened to all the agencies under you? It is an ambition that is killing many people. Ambition, interest, self-interest. If national interest is above self-interest, Nigeria's economy will not sink. And two, our money, our resources, our properties that are up there in abroad, they are more than 1 million times what is in Nigeria. So there must be economic disequilibrium